I'd like to start on a happier note. I was in Las Vegas last week, which is probably why I'm sick. God knows what I contracted out there in Las Vegas on Fremont Street. But I had a
Right.
lovely time, so I wanted to recap Skankfest Vegas with you guys, because that smarmy cunt, Carl, we're demonetized now. That's how passionately I feel about calling him that. Carl asks me, how's Vegas? And I was like, it's pretty good. And then we moved on. But in the Who Are These Socials tweet, he's like, "Oh, Mike had a lot of riveting stuff about Vegas." we didn't talk about it. I was going to talk about it on here. What are you giving me shit for now?
I did notice. I was like, "There's no follow-ups. What do you want? You want to just recap your whole trip? Is that what you wanted?"
Yeah, we just spent 40 minutes. Sorry, we can't get to delete laws this week.
Yeah. Banter's usually 5 minutes tops.
It's usually 30 seconds. I didn't think he wanted a lot of banter, and then he's like, "Oh, great stuff, Mike."
Bringing it.
Why does everyone have silent resentment for me? I don't understand it.
I don't, Mike.
Say your piece. Thank you, Craig. Craig's the only guy I can trust. Craig, you're the best there is, and I appreciate all the time you put in. Thank you.
Okay, we can stop this.
Understood?
Yeah, I got you.
Are we clear?
Yes, clear.
Are the thank yous I'm giving you now enough?
I prefer you shitting on me. I think I found out right now.
All right. So, yeah, make sure the timestamps are proper, because there's a lot of people that aren't going to understand what the fuck I'm talking about. But
right.
Yeah. So Skankfest Vegas was a terrific time. I think as far as content, this was one of, if not the best years that I've been to. As far as like the actual shows, it's up there. It might be the best year. I've been to every year except for the first one. And I'll go day by day as far as how the shows were and things I found notable. I'll give notes from each show if that's good enough for Carl. I hope that's succinct enough for him. I hope it's riveting enough for him. God forbid, instead of doing a round table, that's what we all needed, is a fifth Stuttering John show from Carl.
Mike's got fucking machine guns right now. I love this.
It has nothing to do with Carl either. I love the man.
Yeah.
I'll be on WATP October 14th, so look out for that.
Fun.
No, I'll misdirected anger. But I think Carl wants to do Skankfest next year. He was mentioning that.
Doing his podcast there?
I think so, yeah.
That'd probably be pretty fun, actually.
It'd be interesting if they had the proper setup. Although I wonder what the crossover is, because there would be a lot of people there that are like, why are we making fun of Stuttering John? What's happening here? Who's Patrick Michael? What the hell's going on?
Well,
I wonder what the crossover's like. I bet there's some WATP fans that are Skanks fans.
Oh, for sure.
I would think, right?
Definitely.
I think he's friends with some of the people in that world, so that'll be interesting to see if he's able to pull that off.
You could do like one of Schaub shows, like right in front of him.
Yeah, well, we'll get to Brendan Schaub too, who is actually one of the more least interesting.
I've heard
one of the least interesting things of the weekend. But I'll go. So Thursday night, they have like the pre-show kickoff. They do the Real Ass Podcast. Actually, let me start before that. We saw Dan Soder checking in. He was very cool. That's one of the cool things about Skankfest. It's like, the KMS live shows where you're just kind of intermingling with the people involved with the show. Like that's one of the things that makes it cool. So we're checking the hotel. We kibitz with Dan Soder. He threw a few shots at Dave Portnoy with me. That was fun. I guess they weren't so kind to Dan's current fiance. So
no, they weren't.
Yeah. So he didn't mind getting a few shots in with me in the check-in line. That was fun. But
it's Katie Nolan.
Yeah.
No, they were nice. They weren't not nice to her.
I don't know what happened with them and Katie Nolan, because they were, when I was an intern, they were like friendly with her. I don't know what transpired after that.
She did the dog show with them, right? Was that her?
Dog show.
Dave was like obsessed with dog shows and like scoring. Wasn't that her?
I don't know.
She was like a judge or
something.
something.
People mention things to me from early Barstool, and I'm like, maybe I was in a haze. I have no memory of what you're talking about.
Now I feel like I have to look it up.
Yeah. So Thursday night, the one thing that stood out to me was they do the Real Ass podcast, and then they did stand up after that. And Ari Shaffir comes on stage. And I noticed the comedians that are like veterans of Skankfest don't want to burn a ton of their material because everyone there knows their old stuff. They can't go to like old, things from years ago. And it's a lot of people in the same room, so you're hearing the same shit over and over again. So guys like Ari are smart about it. They'll just kind of riff for most of their set. And Ari comes out and he goes, all right, listen. This is something I've pulled off in Los Angeles before, and I'm hoping to do it here. So when I'm done, I'm going to bring on Big J Ogerson. Big J's in the back right now. He can't hear anything I'm saying. So when Big J comes on here, he kind of fancies himself the godfather of Skankfest. He looks at himself as a king in this place. But what I want to happen is I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, Big J Ogerson, and you guys are completely silent. And I was like, I'm interested in whatever this is. So he says, be completely silent. And then he starts shitting on Jay, saying like, and he's a hack, so he'll revert to crowd work. And he goes, so one of you people in the front row, when he inevitably says to you, hey, what do you do for a living or something? Yell out, hey, that's too far, man. And the rest of you boo. So I was juiced up for this.
Yeah, I imagine.
So then Ari, gets into whatever stand-up he does. And then eventually, gives Big J a big intro. He's like, this is one of my best friends in comedy, hilarious guy, all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, Big J Ogerson. Now, this was a little annoying because there's some people in the crowd that I don't know, maybe they didn't hear what Ari said or they just didn't give a fuck or whatever. There were a few cheers, like people that didn't get it. And I was like, oh, God damn it. But it turns out that actually worked out better.
Because it's like one person.
Because it's a few cheers. And literally, I know it worked out better because Jay walks on stage and is like, late night Skankfest crowd, you guys are tired, huh? You guys must be high or drunk or whatever. Like he acknowledges the crowd is like low energy.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm like, okay, this may have worked. And so he says, he has a couple jokes. Then he looks at some lady and he says, you, ma'am, I forget what what do you do for a living? Something like that. And her boyfriend steps in and yells, fuck you, bro. And we all boo. And he's like, whoa, what did I say? And then he's like, all right, whatever. And he kind of tries to move on and do crowd work with another person. And we boo again. And he goes, I don't know what the fuck is happening right now. It was a masterful job. And then finally he goes, this is Ari, isn't it? That's how he started to win the crowd back.
Yeah, this is Ari. It's definitely Ari.
But he tells this story. He's like, I was outside. He goes, I go outside to have a cigarette with Lewis. And I go, hey, man, like, do I really have to? I'm going to be doing stand-up all weekend. Like, do I have to go up tonight? And Lewis goes, these people fucking love you, bro. They need you to go up there. Like, Lewis, having no idea what was happening, is giving him a pump-up speech. Like, you have to go on stage right now.
And it's silent.
He comes up to silence and boos. So that was pretty hilarious. I love shit like that. I love being a part of anything like pranking someone in that way where it's just like innocent and fun. I very much enjoyed that. So Friday is where things started to get juicy. This is probably something you've heard already. Have you heard the gossip about Mr. Joe DeRosa?
No, I saw someone. I forget who. Someone tweeted that you had a conversation with him, but I don't know if that was real.
You'll understand that joke, I'm sure, by the end of this. No,
okay.
I did not have a conversation with him.
Okay.
At noon on Fridays, like these shows start at noon every day.
Mm-hmm.
So at noon on Fridays, Legion of Skanks do their show, and they need another ring card girl for like the Ellis Mania fights that they're doing or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they did sort of like a talent show. And so like one girl went up and said she could queef on command, which
sick.
Another great Ari line was she had like lay down so she could do it. Like to get her, I don't know, get the juices flowing properly. So there's silence for a minute, and Ari Shaffir just goes, let's take a moment to think about all those we've lost in the Ukraine. That was pretty good timing.
Very
But
funny.
one girl was trans. She was male to female, I believe. If I get the pronouns wrong, I'm sorry. Whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. She had a penis, is the point. And I don't know where we got lost in the talent portion of all this, but essentially they started talking to her about trying to get her dick hard. And somehow it came up that Joe DeRosa volunteered to be the person to try and get her penis erect.
Okay.
And it's all a little fuzzy. But all I remember is they left to go to the bathroom, and they came back, and Joe DeRosa was a different man.
Oh, no.
And they asked, she was not hard when she came back, as she promised, and they asked, like, did you come? And she goes, I didn't.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
I believe Joe DeRosa was jerked off by a hooker, or sucked off by a trans person. I almost said hooker. I didn't mean that.
Yeah, yep, not a hooker. Definitely.
And the part that was more in question is that, like, he kissed her neck to try and jerked her off. So a lot was happening with Joe DeRosa. Now I'll skip it.
This was at noon.
This was at noon on Friday. Yeah.
So you can't play the drug booze card yet.
No, we're still wiping the sand out of our eyes. Yeah. It's essentially morning.
I was drinking coffee and this happened.
Yeah. My morning Java was with Joe taking a trans person to the bathroom and jerking him off. So the details of what exactly transpired between them was a little hazy, but I will say I wasn't there for this, but I saw a video from the end of Skankfest. They do the goddamn comedy jam to close it out, which is essentially karaoke, but they have like a live band and all that type of shit. Is basically what it is.
Yeah.
And Joe DeRosa brought the trans woman on stage and sang to her, "I've had the time of my life."
That's very fucking funny.
It was very funny.
That is very funny.
Gillis and Ari referred to it as Joe DeRosa jolting his career back into action.
He needed it to save it.
Yeah, he needed it apparently.
Now, did you get a glimpse at this person?
Yeah.
Is this one of the tricksters, or is it like an obvious?
There's pictures out there. I'll let you decide, I suppose.
All right, I'm gonna do some digging while you keep speaking.
Yeah. See what you can find. I'm sure it's out there. It mixed reviews I've heard, but overall positive, I think. Now DeRosa did have a thing with like Bailey J. Like, this is not the first time he's mentioned leaning towards that world.
Bailey J, I would classify as a trickster.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure they love that definition.
I think they prefer that than me go, you look less like a guy. Is that better?
Trickster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while you look for that, I'll tell some other tales. The pop-ins were kind of cool. Like the next show, like just 2 p.m, Ron White showed up. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Jamie Kennedy was also there, which was a weird one.
Really?
And I was going to give him credit. So at the show I saw him at, I was going to give Jamie Kennedy credit because he had some joke about, he opens with like acknowledging Malibu's Most Wanted. And then said he wanted all of us to hand in our resumes so he could reference jobs from 20 years ago. Like, it was funny, whatever. I heard he flamed out on another show.
Oh, really?
And because at Skankfest, there's like 6 rooms going at once. There's some rooms that are packed, like, standing room only, and you got to nudge your way in there. You can't get in. Because those are the shows people all want to see at that time. So there's other rooms that are, people filtering in and out. People are drugged out, dozing off in there, There's a large disparity. So when you're in one of those rooms, it's more like you're at the Comedy Store at 2 a.m. in 1978.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Is this person that Joe is with? Is this what he only sang one song, right?
I don't know.
Judge him. Okay, this person's. I would, from the camera angle I'm getting right now in this video, from where it is, I would classify it as a trickster.
Yeah, I've heard most people say positive reviews. Mark Norman was a little like, but everyone else I've heard kind of say like, not bad.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, that's a trickster. It's like the person from the White House that showed
I'm
their
not comfortable
boobs.
with you using that word over and over again. It feels dirty.
Sorry.
A trickster. It feels like they're doing something nefarious.
I mean,
I'm sure in your mind they are. But.
Yeah. I mean, no, definitely not.
So yeah, like Ron White shows up. Doug Stanhope showed up. I had an interaction with Doug Stanhope that I'll mention in a moment. But another notable story was some of these shows were live streamed to Mint Comedy or something like that. And one of them was Tuesdays with Stories. And so Tuesdays, it's Joe and Mark come out, and they're riffing before they have guests on. And Joe says, "Did you see this article about Matt Rife?" And I don't think Norman had seen it yet. He goes, "Matt Rife made $25 million this year." Which,
how much?
Side note, did you know that?
How much?
$25 million.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, that was the reaction of a lot of comedians, it sounded like. So Joe List is like, they made $25 million this year. And Norman goes, "Cameras." And List is like, fuck. And then, so they realize they're being filmed. Right. And Joe List just looks at the camera and goes, "Well, I think he deserves every penny." I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
I learned throughout the week we are our Matt Rife take was pretty spot on as far as how comedians feel about him. Seems like he's a nice guy. Seems like they find him funny enough, whatever. But the what's the phrase he used? Like finally, or whatever he said to Rogan, where he's like, "Finally, long time coming." That's what he said.
Long time coming. Yeah.
That attitude is what I think bothers people about him. That's how it seemed, anyways. But yeah, 25 million people were like, "Jesus Christ."
I think that interview with Rogan was the first time he felt that attitude, because he said it and he immediately changed his tune for the rest of the interview.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought he deserves every penny was a very funny line by Joe. Yeah, so Doug Stanhope showed up unannounced, which was cool. I guess drank piss. I wasn't there for this part. I've only heard it secondhand. I've heard 2 glasses worth.
Jesus.
So I don't know what was going on. I have no idea what led to that story. Sorry, I have to keep drinking water. I'm all phlegmed up.
It's from the dry heat that you were experiencing in the desert.
I guess so. I was fine on every other show I've done this week. It's waited till today. But so I saw me and the skirt were walking home, and Doug Stanhope's just standing on the corner having a cigarette or whatever the fuck he was doing out there.
Probably several.
And I go, "Hey, Doug Stanhope." And he goes, I make some blind joke immediately. And then I go, "We saw you in Key West." I was just point of reference. I was saying, "No, like we saw last time we saw you." And he goes, "Did you?" I go, "I got to tell you, Doug, how disheartening it is that is a comment I get on Twitter every single time I use the word see, and it's the first thing one of a legendary stand-up who also uses that hack line."
You said that?
I did. And he goes, "Well, listen, I also have a disability. It's called drunkenness, and I don't get a special cane for it."
All right, that's funny.
So we had a fun back and forth, and then he comes in for a hug.
Really?
Okay, yeah.
As someone that doesn't like handshakes, how did that hit you?
I didn't mind it. It felt actually a hug is better. I'd prefer you hug me because I don't have to look for your hand. You know?
I wouldn't say that too many times.
Well, yeah. Jeff Lewis, stay at a close, safe distance.
Stay away. You in the jacket.
No, yeah, but Alba is someone that always wants me to take pictures, and I hate them. When I left that hug, I was like, "Where were you on that one? I don't have a picture of that. What the fuck?"
That is the one that I need.
Yeah. If Brendan Schaub embraces me, you better have your phone out.
And she just looked like, "Aw," and then she's like, "Fuck, I forgot to take it."
So Brendan Schaub was there on Friday. I heard his stand up did not go well. I didn't get to see that.
Mike, what? After all that, you missed it?
The Fighter and the Kid was also Friday night, and it seemed like that was going to be canceled. Brian Callen's flight got delayed or whatever, but they made it. Schaub was like, he was fine. He didn't embrace it as much as I wanted him to. It seemed like Callen kind of gave him lines to use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it seemed like there were kind of stock answers to things. I was hoping for more of a full embracing, either going at the fans or fully embracing it, but he kind of made like self-deprecating jokes about not being funny or whatever. It was a bit of a letdown, if I'm being honest. Overall,
I heard
the Schaub being there.
From what I'm gathering on social media, it came across like his hand was being held by Lewis, apparently.
Yeah, there was a little of that and even like the next day, I think Lewis was like, "Hey, Schaub did great, right?" You know, kind of like, I think Lewis wanted him to do well. It was a safe environment for him, which I think was almost to like his detriment.
Yeah,
because everyone was like, "Come on, buddy, you got this," and he didn't. I don't think he fully delivered.
So did you walk away sulking in your thick boy baseball jersey?
I didn't have the guts to wear it. I was like, no one's gonna get. They're gonna think I'm a Schaub fan that stumbled in here.
They'll still hit me.
Yeah. But that's the thing about that audience is like, they're completely ready to embrace him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think people were saying like, "Hey, it's, these are the people that shit on you on Reddit." I don't get the sense that that's like I'm sure there's certainly some people there, but for the most part, I don't get the sense it's like that's the evil troll community. You know what I mean? Like, I think the same with the Minifan shows, like the drive-in show, and I would say that was the real damper on the weekend. Was the whole like Friday and Saturday? I kept being like, "Ah, fuck, I wish I was there."
It was a great time. Great time.
I heard you were quite a star there.
No.
Good. Stay out of the way.
I was. Every time I do it, every time I see someone related to the show, I kind of try to move away from them. So, just stay out of it. Yep, just here having fun.
Yeah, so that was, I would say that was the damper on it, but that's what I kept thinking of. It's the same type of thing. It's like, yeah, the people that are assholes on Twitter, either they don't mean to be, you know what I mean? Like, they think they're in on the joke or something, or that's not who shows up for those events, I don't think.
Yeah, it's typically like tones being misread on Twitter.
I think that's what a lot of shit on social media is. It's like, "Hey, I think I'm joking with you."
Right.
And you don't know me, so you're misreading it, you know?
That's why if someone's like shits on me or something, I just retweet it. I'm like, it's either funny or they're a dick. I don't know. Either way, it's funny to me.
Master of social media, Craig Coney.
Yeah. Like, Craig, I hope you choke and die. I'm like, he's funny, right? Retweet.
I'm misreading this probably.
Yes, this is clearly a joke. It's all about tone.
All right, trying to think of what else I missed before we get to the big show. Saturday. What happened Saturday? This is why notes would help, but I wouldn't be able to read them. So
that's disappointing about Schaub. That's really disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it was like fine. He didn't do anything wrong. He just didn't steal the show, you know?
Right. I never thought he would steal the show. I thought he would be more like,
I thought he could. I thought if he had the right mentality about it, he could be the Schaub chance would be going throughout the weekend.
Oh yeah, if he went on stage and just had like Zach Amico or other people write roast jokes for him to just roast everyone,
yeah,
that was there or something, that would have been pretty good.
Yeah,
but Schaub.
I'm trying to think of some notes from Saturday, but maybe they'll come to me as I talk. Because on Sunday, again, the day started with Legion of Skanks, And this time, so we met up with another couple, friends of mine, and I know not to do any sort of drugs that early in the day. I'm not a drug guy in general, but like weed I'll dabble in. But I know that if I take an edible or something at 2 p.m, my day's cooked. The lady, Miss Alba, does not necessarily know that about herself.
Yeah.
And my friend offered her an edible. You know, Alba likes to seem cool, so she's like, absolutely. Now, as soon as the edible kicks in, the Legion of Skanks introduce Roseanne Barr and Violent J from the Insane Clown Posse.
You took an edible?
Yeah.
That's a combo.
She was like, what's happening?
That's a combo.
It really is. So Roseanne, and we made fun of her podcast. I don't know how aware she is of how she comes, because she might be brilliant. I mean, we talked about it. We did a whole Why You Laughing episode about her. Oh, remind me of Why You Laughing when I'm done with all the Skankfest shit.
Okay.
But you know, we talked about Roseanne, and she's definitely like incredibly influential comic and sitcom star and all that. But it seems like she's lost it.
Yeah.
But she laughs at herself pretty well. I feel like completely deranged people, the way she comes off, aren't able to laugh at themselves the way she is. So I do wonder like how in on it she is. But legitimately, she'll go off on a rant about like the vaccine, and she'll do these like monologues, and then Violent J just starts beatboxing in the background.
That's like the funniest thing.
So imagine like Alba was just on an edible. I mean, there are people there on like acid and shrooms and shit. Imagine that happening. A man in full clown makeup.
They're just tripping so hard they think it's Big J Okerson.
It's impossible to describe. I think you can watch it somewhere. I think it's like an exclusive episode of theirs or something. It's weird. I don't really know how to promote it, but like it's shit like that you kind of go there for, where it's like, oh yeah, maybe Roseanne and the Insane Clown Posse will be on a show together, you know?
I would have never guessed that combo ever in a million years.
Well, so like Roseanne will make some long-winded point, and she'll go on this, you know, diatribe about the vaccine or Biden or rigging the election, and then Violent J will just chime in and go, Roseanne, you don't understand. We don't have anything if we don't have the truth. Just like, what the fuck are we watching?
Nicole in the chat says, poor Alba, that sounds terrifying.
I was like, no, what did you do?
That would be like the last place I'd want to be high ever, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't, I'd be so paranoid.
Yeah. And then
they're coming after me.
Yeah,
they're taking my guns.
Yeah.
Whatever Roseanne is preaching about.
Oh, that was one of the best parts of the KMS show, was Steve chucking his gun on the table.
A real man's man.
It was very funny.
So the real tease from Sunday night, I think we should just play this clip and then I'll explain more what it's about. Because this is the thing people have been texting me about to see if I was at this show, and I was, which was very exciting. But we have Shane Gillis, Mark Norman, and Ari Shaffir on Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, kind of recapping the weekend, and they talked about the show that ended Skankfest.
And it was epic.
It was great, right?
Unreal. I mean, it got too real.
It got too real.
Tony
moments.
goes hard. You know, DeRosa will be like, oh, Bert Kreischer, I don't know his kids' names. And Tony's like, he owes me money.
Shit like that.
It was wild.
Yeah, there were a few moments that got for real serious.
Yeah.
But most of it kept on the up and up.
The Bill Burr stuff, I was like, cut the mic. This is too much.
This is a strict no phones policy up show.
Talking about it.
We
Are
need 6 extra staff members in there. And every like 20 minutes, like, guys, again, no fucking phones. You see anybody, you got to tell them.
I filmed half of it.
So let me explain. Ari Shaffir and Joe DeRosa did a secret show that closed out the festival before the goddamn comedy jam. It was the last like comedy show of the night, and they teased earlier in the weekend that they wanted to do this, but no one knew that they were going to. On the schedule, it just says secret show. No one knew what it was. I was lucky enough. I throw the cane around. I get front row. You know.
Yeah.
So what they did was a show. You know, no phones, security's tight. This is just between you and me here, and it's Joe DeRosa and Ari Shaffir standing on stage. We raise our hands and name a comedian, and they will do their best to shit on them genuinely. Not just like, oh, this guy sucks or whatever. Like a genuine, what you would get if you were at the Comedy Cellar table type of shitting on.
Mm-hmm.
And they delivered. I mean, you were like, holy shit. Now, here's where I was torn, is like, I was like, hey, I could probably get a few extra views on this video if I say exactly what they said about everyone.
Yeah.
But they were specifically like, you know, be cool about this. I think Ari, when everyone was like about to leave, when they were about to end the show, Ari goes, when people ask you about this, say, you know what I gotta say? They went pretty mild. It was actually tame.
What?
They were actually too nice to people. But
You don't
they
have
were
to
not.
say- You don't have to say specifics, but like, how bad was the Bill Burr stuff?
It was disheartening.
All right, I can't wait for the show to end.
Like, legitimately,
Oh,
I was like, I don't know if I'm a fan of this guy anymore.
really? Really?
It was upsetting. It was disappointing.
I can't wait for the show to end.
It was, so here's what I've decided is at any gearhead meetups that we have in the future, which I was thinking maybe we could end the show by scheduling the next one.
Okay.
But any gearhead meetups, just come up to me, ask about a name, and I'll tell you.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, how's that? Because I'd like to talk about it on the show, but I also don't want to be the guy that ruins it. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna
Like, people have been pretty good. When people started texting me and saying like, "Hey, what's the deal with Bill Burr?" I was like, "Oh, some asshole put it on Reddit," and that feeling of "oh, some asshole put it on Reddit" made me think, I don't want to be the asshole that says everything on my fucking
Oh no,
podcast.
you're making the correct choice by not
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
yeah.
So I'll tell you in private.
I'm
But yeah,
pretty much-
Bill Burr took a beating.
Who got the
Um,
worst? Would you say?
I would say Burr, and I would say anyone that Tony had to take on. So it was DeRosa and Ari, but then throughout the night, Bobby Kelly and Tony Hinchcliffe came up.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony, we're going to talk about Tony with like Ric Flair and all that stuff. I was a little down on Tony Hinchcliffe. He redeemed himself in this. He was the perfect guy. I mean, you want to talk bitter. He has some anger in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he has some real bitterness. So I won't say who anyone specifically shit on, but like, yeah, Burr probably got it the worst. I'll say Rosebud Baker took a beating, which I was surprised by.
I don't even know who the hell that is. Rosebud Baker.
Yeah, she's a writer for SNL now.
Oh, I've seen that name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who else got bad, but even like they said on that on Shane's podcast, like they had to do every name, so like they shit on Norm. Like someone said Norm Macdonald, and they were like, he's overrated. Like some were kind of mild because you knew they respected the guy.
That hurts to hear.
Well, but they did deliver in shitting on him. You know what I mean? Like they stuck to what the show was.
Right.
I'll say Rogan in a green room is exactly what you would think.
Annoying.
It's not too dissimilar from the podcast.
Chimpanzees, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. At a gearhead meetup, let me say the word, and we'll have some good gossip for you.
I like it. I like that.
So yeah, that was. I think I touched on the most fun points of the weekend. I'm missing something from Saturday of note, but I can't remember specifically, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I don't. I was trying to think of what I saw online, but I think the biggest things were that show and Brendan Schaub's treatment was the thing I saw the most.
Yeah, it was. I gotta say, it was Brendan Schaub was underwhelming. That was kind of like an afterthought of the weekend.
So we still team Schaub, or are you retiring? Uh-oh.
I don't know if he has it in him.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if he has it in him to do what I want him to do. You know what? I'll say this. I'm Team Schaub because the people on Fighter and the Kid Reddit hate him so much.
You have to have his back.
You have to combat that somehow. Like that's way too. The shit they do is like, he's not a monster.
Right.
Seems like a fine guy.
Right.
So yeah.
Let's see. I got some super chats we can get to real quick.
Oh, all right. Let's do that.
Drew P Balls, $10. Thank you for reminding me of the time change for the show.
You got it, Drew. Anything for one of the Hever to Grace 5.
That's right. Dominic, $2. Blind Mike was at a super spreader event.
Probably so. Yeah.
Probably.
Although, so Gillis wasn't at Skankfest because he lost his voice. He had COVID or something.
He wasn't there?
No.
No shit. Oh, he would have been great on that secret show.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He would have been great.
I think Norman. So I guess Norman was there, but he didn't go on stage. I think he would have been great also.
Yeah, they're two. Ari is a different animal, but
it's. I wouldn't have thought Tony would be as good as he was. I thought Lewis would have been great. And Tim Dillon would have been great to have on that also.
Tim Dillon would have been good, but actually Tony's perfect because he's like in Rogan's group of friends, and if he's gonna go up there and actually unleash what he's seen or heard or anything, he's gonna.
I will say the one Rogan Tony had nothing to say. Surprisingly, it was weird.
Almost like he's funding him.
Yeah, but yeah, no, Tony. There's a lot of bitterness there. He was perfect for it.
Dominic, $5. He went up $3 in his next super chat. Do you appreciate me, Mike?
Well, very much. Hey, you know what? I appreciate you a lot, guys. And if I don't say it enough, the super chats are unnecessary, but I do appreciate them. You guys are digging into your pockets, and I appreciate that.
I hate this. Drew Peanuts, $5. Mike,
so those are different guys, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
Mike, you are great at comedy, and I love yours. However, you see a man in a dress, and you get all serious and care about pronouns. Come on.
I was kidding.
I think it was more me calling it a trickster, guys.
Yeah, relax. I was fucking around. Yeah, they're freaks. What do you want from me?
There used to be a whole section at like a carnival dedicated to that.
Yeah, they're mutants. All right, is that what you want me to say?